Welcome to the Lessons for Luca podcast. I'm your host, Michael DeSanti, author of New Man Emerging, transformational trainer and coach, and most importantly, I'm Luca's dad. This episode is a special one for me. I'm shooting this episode on Father's Day 2025. This is the first Father's Day since I launched the podcast, and for those of you that have been following along from the beginning, I laid it out from the very start that this whole endeavor is really for the audience of one, for my son, to be able to capture in time and collect with some posterity this moment in time of the lessons that I've learned in life, my philosophy at this point of life, the guidance that I seek to give my son. It's always been for an audience of one. And this is a special one for me because I want to do something a little different today. I want to read a letter that I wrote to my son on this podcast, on this episode. But before I do that, although this is for an audience of one, the goal has always been that in passing along philosophy to my son, the possibility and the hope that helps and influences positively other men and other people living their life. And recently in my coaching circles and the masterminds that I run and the men that I coach, there's a theme that's been coming up lately of men that grew up without fathers, that their fathers either left or they passed away early in their life or they were absent and unpredictable. And this theme lately of how that absent father early on has left an imprint and impact in them today. There's a saying that nature abhors a vacuum, which means that if there's space, nature and life is going to fill it. And it doesn't always fill it with the most positive impact. We're in this interesting place in time where so many men, young men especially, have this void of quality masculine energy, this void of quality male leaders and role models. And if that void is there, it's going to get filled. But right now it's getting filled with not the most healthy and positive potential. We're seeing an influx of misogyny and force and overcorrectedness and braggadociousness and posturing as though like the most valuable man is the one that takes up all the oxygen in the room. And I want to pause that for a moment and provide a new opportunity, a new definition of what the makings of a good man are. For those listening, the invitation here is to just open your heart, because maybe you never heard this from your father. Maybe these are words you wanted to hear and never did. Maybe these are words you've never heard, period. Or maybe you haven't heard them in a long time because your father's no longer here. I want to give my son guidance on really what it means to be healthy in his manhood and his masculinity as a man, as a leader, as a protector, as a provider. And so the invitation is to listen with an open heart, so that these words, if you never heard them or haven't heard them in a long time, they reach a place in your heart that inspires you and impacts you in a way that has you navigate with a little more clarity and a little more courage and a little more confidence moving forward in your life. Son, what I want you to know about the measure of a good man, it's not in his accomplishments, it's not in his title, it's not in his bank account, his status, or his achievements. The measure of a good man is how he carries himself and how he treats others, especially those less fortunate than him. So do your best always to have your character and your reputation enter the room before you do. The strongest man in that room is not the one who is the loudest, the most braggadocious, but instead the one who has been hurt, let down, heartbroken, and tasted life's misfortunes and still chooses to keep his heart open and remain hopeful and optimistic of himself and of his life. That's the strongest man in the room. To hold the wounds of yesterday and still choose to show up today. To have tasted disappointment and defeat and hold the door open for others in spite of their lack of appreciation or gratitude. Many people in society will try to tell you what success is, but never forget that the ultimate success is having the opportunity to grow old and not shut your heart down with the passing years. Become as prosperous as you possibly can, while realizing that the greatest currency you will ever have is the bond of your word that you keep to yourself and to others. How you handle the inevitabilities of life, pain, loss, adversity, and uncertainty will be directly congruent to the quality of your life. In life, you will be met with challenges, and that is not unique to you, but how you choose to face those challenges will be. Will you be passive and go along with the crowd and self-abandon your values, or will you be principled and do what is right in your conscience and in your heart? Will you use your story of hardship to contaminate your future, or will you use it to inspire others out of despair? Will you set your sail to calm waters, or will you meet the waves head on and see what you are made of and live beyond the horizons that you can't yet see? No doubt you will inevitably be called to leadership. And how will you lead? Great leaders understand that holding people and communities together is like taking care of an old and fragile sculpture that's loaded with vulnerable cracks. Great leaders strengthen those cracks. Weak leaders exploit them. Great leaders don't shrink the table for the fortunate few. Instead, they expand the table so that everyone can eat, that everyone is welcomed, and everyone's gifts are celebrated. As a leader, you are not required to outrun your team so that they could be impressed by your speed. Rather, you're to bring them with you because your vision is clear and your mission is noble. So always remember to temper your power with humility, your wisdom with simplicity, your honesty with sensitivity, and your ambition with priority. The most important decision you will ever make in life is the decision of who you will choose to marry. When you choose to marry, choose peace. You will love many women in life, but there will only be one that will help quiet the storms that want to rage inside of you. There will only be one that when you have the courage to show her who you truly are, all of you, your darkness and shortcomings, your shame and your embarrassment, she won't turn and run, and she won't weaponize your history against you. Instead, she'll meet all of you with tenderness and grace, and she'll help you put down the sword that you hold against yourself. Choose her, and choose her over and over again every day of your life. Life is combative enough, especially if you choose to be a man of value and a man of principle. People will mischaracterize you, sling arrows your way, and seek to challenge you at every pass. Don't come home to the same combat. Make your marriage a sanctuary for your spirit, and from a place of peace, build an extraordinary life together. And if you're blessed by life to have children and become a father, then expect the colors of the prism of your world to dramatically change. That is natural, and that is good. To be a steward of children is greater than any other role you'll ever receive in life. Embrace that role with humility and with generosity, and life will give you back more treasure than the wealthiest purse in the world. And finally, remember that you are not the center of the universe. There's an intelligence and a spirit that is far greater than our limited understanding. The road you take to a greater spiritual life will be the bedrock of recognizing the divine nature within you, and it will flavor the experience of your life with gratitude and with reverence. Learn how to surrender to that higher power and let it guide your life so that you never feel alone or ever feel you are unworthy of being loved. That journey will be where you find the deepest secrets of life. And the secret is this: to bear witness, be present, and appreciate. to the best of your ability, the inevitable passage of time, and to remove any internal obstructions that keep you from doing so. Live by these principles, and you'll have the makings and markings of a good man. So be it. Be a good man, live a good life, and determine each of those for yourself.